We're delighted to have Paul Schickler, who's president of DuPont Pioneer, with us. They've been very involved in the Chicago Council, and some of you have heard about their investments and partnerships overseas. And to tell us a little bit about that, please welcome Paul Schickler of DuPont.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you to the Chicago Council for convening this symposium, really helping us to continue to advance the issues around global food security, something that we're all very, very concerned about. Thanks also to the young leaders featured in the video that you just saw, some of whom are guests here today as part of the Chicago Council's Next Generation sponsorship. It's a pleasure for me to speak to you about agriculture, food security, and youth, three of my most favorite topics, but I must tell you, youth is number one. As we listen to today, I asked you to consider what you are doing to support not just today's leaders, scientists, or farmers, but tomorrow's. Because the unprecedented task we face depends as much on those outside of agriculture and upon the next generation as it does to all of us here today. We must create new forms of collaboration, and the enthusiasm of the next generation is needed most of all. In the whole of humanity, the revolution to modernize agriculture is probably the greatest story of scientific and technological achievement. It's a journey more profound than Samuel Morse and his telegraph, setting out on a path leading to Steve Jobs and the iPhone. It transcends most any of the other amazing feats of human ingenuity. And here's the thing. This revolution has not ended. This is a problem that desperately requires the focus and the attention, and yes, the enthusiasm of the very best and brightest of the next generation. My parents' generation put a man on the moon. My generation put a computer in every pocket. But they are child's play to the challenge of food security. No other generation has been privileged to confront a task of such enormous complexity, compelling urgency, or sublime consequence. It's a challenge that needs to engage the best minds in IT to food processing, international trade to water and land resources, and political reform to culinary sciences. Luckily, agriculture is an optimistic science. And if the challenge we have today sounds dauntingly complex, keep in mind the astonishing innovation that has already occurred. Those who are not farmers are usually unaware or dimly aware of how technologically sophisticated modern farming has become. Today in North America, Brazil, and other parts of the world, some farmers drive machines guided by satellites that can increase efficiencies by precisely planting, weeding, fertilizing, and harvesting. A farmer with a smartphone, internet, and GPS is practicing a profoundly different kind of agriculture than her great-grandfather did behind a mule. And someday soon, she may be growing crops tailored specifically to the conditions of her own fields and plant them using a joystick and a flat stick while sitting in the comfort of her own office. On the other hand, of course, in many regions across the globe, we still have smallholder farms planting and harvesting by hand. How can these completely different realities be meshed in a seamless global system that can feed 9 billion people? Can one person make any kind of significant difference? A quote from noted plant scientist George Washington Carver comes to mind. When you do common things in life in an uncommon way, you will command the attention of the world. In 1894, Carver joined the faculty at Iowa State University's Agricultural School. While there, he befriended the Wallace family And on a free day, Carver would take their young son, Henry, on nature walks, inspiring him in a lifelong fascination with plant science. Henry Wallace grew up to be the United States Secretary of Agriculture and later Vice President of the United States under FDR. He was also the founder and president of the world's first hybrid corn seed company, Pioneer, the business that I am privileged to lead today. So consider this. What will you do to inspire the next generation of scientists, farmers, and entrepreneurs? Can you make a difference in one person's life? How about changing the world? You see, Wallace's story does not end with becoming president of Pioneer, nor vice president of the United States. When Henry Wallace was the Secretary of Agriculture, he led efforts to start Mexico's first experimental agriculture research centers in Mexico to look for more productive strains of wheat. The program hired young Norman Borlaug as the project geneticist and plant pathologist. While in Mexico, Borlaug developed wheat varieties that were later introduced into Mexico, Pakistan, and India, nearly doubling yields. A station dreamed up by Henry Wallace, who had been inspired by George Washington Carver, Borlaug saved over 1 billion lives worldwide from starvation. By your actions, large and small, and by the way your enthusiasm sparks the interest of a young professional in agriculture, by the uncommon way that you do common things, you can make a real difference in the world. For the leaders in this room, listen to the issues outlined today and make a personal commitment to engage the next generation. Because regardless of the specific challenge we face, solving it will require their commitment. To young leaders, consider how you will get involved and then take action. Make your commitment known because it will inspire others. Like the young leaders that we just saw in the video, we want to help you tell your story. Together, I know that we can feed the world. Thank you.